Hello everyone, it's lovely to meet all of you. My name is Emma Fetzer. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am Girl Up's Rocky Mountain Regional Campus leader over here in the United States. I am studying political science at Brigham Young University here in the state of Utah. I am so excited to lead this Inspire session on the history of feminism and why it is still needed today. Before we get started, I need to read Girl Up's message on safe space. It reads, I agree to uphold Girl Up's zero tolerance policy on discrimination based on race, ability, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, socioeconomic background, language, ethnicity, worldview, citizenship status, age, or class. I agree to uphold Girl Up's zero tolerance policy on hate speech, bullying, violence, harassment, and exploitation. Just a quick disclaimer, this is specifically the history of feminism in America. I am aware that the feminist movement displays itself differently in different countries all over the world. However, the call to action in this Inspire session is relatable to everyone of all backgrounds. I encourage you to do your own research as to the history of feminism in your own countries. Learning about the past is crucial towards building understanding and creating change towards a better future. Now, I have a lot to say and not a lot of time to say it, so let's get started. My first experience with advocating for feminism happened a few years ago on vacation to South Carolina. On said vacation, my family went mini golfing. One round, my brother missed the hole by a wide margin, and my dad said, "You hit like a girl." Time seemed to freeze as I realized what he had said. Since when was being a girl a bad thing? When I asked my dad why he said that, he looked confused. "He keeps missing," he said, as if it would pass as a good excuse. "So why does that mean he hit it like a girl?" I asked, genuinely curious. He stumbled for minutes trying to explain before he settled on angrily telling me that it was just an expression. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the day because he was mad that I had pointed out his misogyny for the first time in 16 years. I had an epiphany. I decided from that point on, I was going to be a feminist. Last October, I turned 18, which means I now get to vote. As I was filling out the registration form, it dawned on me that 100 years ago, this would have been considered crazy. A woman being able to vote? Should we really trust a woman to make good decisions about government? Critics of this idea believed that the simple act of checking off a name was too much for a woman to handle. So they, meaning the patriarchy, fought back. They would arrest peaceful suffragettes or beat women who would try to go to the polls, or even rape or murder them for simply saying, maybe women should have the right to vote. So the suffragettes fought harder. In 1848, Elizabeth Cady Stanton organized the first women's rights meeting, the Seneca Falls Convention. During this convention, the Declaration of Sentiments was written, in which was a list of demands, including property rights for women as well as the right to vote. In this declaration is my favorite quote. The history of mankind is a history of repeated injuries on the part of men toward women, having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over her. End quote. After centuries of abuse, women finally had the courage to say, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal." It took decades, but on August 18, 1920, the 19th Amendment was ratified, giving all women in America the right to vote. However, due to racial prejudices, the 19th Amendment really only gave white women the right to vote, until the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was passed. Yet, this is still considered to be the end of the first wave of feminism. Fast forward to the 1960s. My grandma grew up in the 50s and 60s. I sat down with her the other day and we discussed what it was like to grow up in that era. She grew up with 3 older brothers, yet my grandma did all of the cooking and cleaning. She was required to wear a dress to school, and in school there were only 2 clubs that girls were allowed to join, cheerleading or pep squad. She was forced to quit her job as a secretary when she got pregnant, just because of the precedent that a woman's place is in the home. She gave up her dreams in order to marry her high school sweetheart and to start a family. And she's not the only one. Back then, women could not go to Ivy League schools because they would be taking a spot that should belong to a man. They couldn't get credit cards or open bank accounts. They couldn't get any form of birth control or play any form of sports. When women started to question these precedents, they were labeled crazy. All because they wanted to get a good education or have a career without being expected to give that up because of the possibility that they might have kids one day. These feminists believed that something as simple as the way you were born was not enough to justify discrimination and oppression. Incredible feminists like Gloria Steinem, Ruby Bridges, Betty Friedan, Dorothy Pittman Hughes, Marsha P. Johnson, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and many others fought tirelessly to expose the misogynistic ways of the society they grew up in. They worked hard to change the laws in order to make discrimination on the basis of sex illegal. They spoke up on behalf of other women who couldn't find their voice, like my grandma. They made it possible for my mom to get a degree, something unheard of just 60 years earlier. This second wave of feminism fought for total equality. At least, that was the intention. Let's jump forward to today. Today, I can vote. Today, I can wear pants to school. Today, I can go to an Ivy League university, and no one would question whether or not I deserve to be there. It seems like this third wave of feminism is unnecessary, and this is what a lot of people believe, including some of my friends and family. A few months ago, I was talking to someone about women's rights, and he told me, "Why are you fighting for something that doesn't matter? Women and men are already equal, so what's the point?" The point is this: we may be equal, but as a woman, I have never been treated as such. According to the United Nations, only 32% of the world's government officials are women. The average woman earns only 80% of what a white man makes, and this number is even lower for women of color. As of 2019, 130 million girls are denied access to an education. Girls are actively discouraged from pursuing a man's career like math or science or engineering, making girls the minority in STEM classes and fields. Every year, 15 million girls become child brides, forced to marry men 30 years their senior. 4 of every 5 victims of human trafficking are girls. 1 in 5 women in the United States have experienced sexual assault. In our society, being catcalled or groped or raped is a compliment, and wearing a shorter skirt is asking for it. And everyone uses the phrase, "like a girl," as an insult, as if being a girl somehow makes you less than human. This is why feminism is still needed. This is why I am a feminist. Alison Sudol said, "It's triggering for a lot of people, this 8-letter F word. Some people hear it and immediately see red and can't hear anything past it. It carries with it tales of rebellion, of man-hating, bra-burning, and sexual revolution and the destruction of the family unit, of wild, out-of-control women fighting to overturn a system that a lot of people, both men and women, have been deeply invested in. To some, feminism is anarchic, angry, and a threat to certain long-held ideas of both masculinity and femininity," end quote. For the record, feminism, according to Webster's dictionary, is the act of advocating for the social, political, and economical equality of the sexes. People seem to think feminists are trying to reverse the roles of the patriarchy, where women are on top and men are on bottom, when in fact, feminism is literally about allowing a woman to stand next to a man equally, rather than depicting them as beneath a man's feet and therefore inferior, as the image of women have been shown to be as since the dawn of time. Feminism shows everybody as equal, rather than one gender superior over the other. Many people have asked me why it's called feminism and not equalism or humanism. Feminists advocate for equality on the basis of sex, race, sexuality, etc. So why do we not have a more inclusive name? Well, the word feminism was coined by Charles Fourier in 1837, a French philosopher who advocated for the emancipation of women because he believed society treated women as second-class citizens. The point of the word feminist and the feminist movement has never been to say that women are better than men. The point is that women and things associated with women have been given a lesser place in society, and we want to bring those up to a place of equality. The focus is on the feminine because that is what is being pushed down. Feminism is about raising up things associated with females to have an equal place in society as the things associated with males. It's called feminism, not equalism, because the focus is on raising up, not tearing down. Equalism would suggest that male things need to come down to a lower level so that female things can meet in the middle. That's not the point. The point is to raise up the feminine so it is on the same playing field that the masculine is already on. It's called feminism because it is the feminine traits men and women are being shamed for. It's the feminine traits society needs to learn to accept. We, as feminists, are fighting for equal pay and against tokenism masquerading as equal representation, while still battling for the right to inhabit streets and public spaces without being assaulted. We are fighting and screaming and strategizing and advocating, all so that we can be treated as equal citizens. I say I am a feminist, and people laugh because women have rights already. But when they laugh at this movement, they are laughing at all of the people in the world who are discriminated against because of something as simple as their gender. This movement affects you and everyone that you know and love. Basic human rights are not funny. The very real experiences of those victimized solely due to their sex is not laughable. The suffering of my entire gender is not a joke that they are allowed to make. Feminism isn't supposed to be popular. It's supposed to attack deeply ingrained social structures that people are going to want to cling to. If the only stances you ever take are the ones you know everyone is going to agree with, then you are not changing the world. You were born, like we all were, with the power inside you to make the world a better place. So use that power to learn more. Ask women in your life about their experiences. Become an ally. It's time to make the world a better, safer place for everyone. Let's do a quick activity. I want everyone to complete the phrase, I need feminism because. Ask yourselves why this is a cause worth fighting for, and ask yourselves what it means to you. Why do you personally need feminism? I encourage you to write down your statement somewhere and then put it somewhere you can see it. It can be something as simple as, I need feminism because I want pockets. Or it can be as deep as, I need feminism because I'm tired of being scared. I'll start. I need feminism because I'm tired of boys thinking the worst thing they could ever be compared to is a girl. Every single one of us needs feminism. The entire world needs feminism. As long as women have to fight for the rights men have always had, I will be a feminist. Ever since that day on the mini golf course in South Carolina, my dad has made a conscious effort to unlearn the misogyny he was taught and become an advocate for women. He has created gender equality commissions within his company, has advocated for equal pay and anti-discriminatory laws and policies, and has corrected his co-workers, his friends, and his family on multiple occasions. He calls me his inspiration and has become my greatest ally in the fight for gender equality. All because I decided to speak up. Women have been fighting, bleeding, and dying for centuries, and the fight is not over yet. Stand up and speak up. Malala Yousafzai said, I want every girl to know that her voice can change the world. End quote. This third wave of feminism is about changing the culture. Nothing is going to change if you stay silent. In light of current events, many people, especially young people, have been in the streets protesting and marching for change, and this isn't a new thing. Raising your voices has been a tradition ever since the first women's marches in the 1920s to the modern women's marches and Black Lives Matter protests of our generation. Everyone at these marches is collectively saying, "You will never have the comfort of our silence again." Be loud about the things that are important to you, because your voices can change the world. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.